Hi everybody, my name is James Elson. I'm the race director here at Centurion Running. This is the pre-race briefing for the 2021 South Downs Way 50. We are absolutely delighted to be back racing. It's a week later than we had planned, but it is still great to be back, obviously. And thanks to all of you for sticking with us when we had that 1 week postponement. Now, there's a lot of information around the event. We're aware of that. This video is long, but it is designed to give you the overview of the day and communicate everything you do need to know and hopefully nothing more. I'm going to start at the beginning. We'll talk about the pre-race and registration process, cover the course itself, and then the finish. So a few overriding things. It's still too early in the permitting situation to allow spectators. So we've asked each of you to fill in the track and trace form. Obviously we have your details as a runner. We then need your crew details if you have one. So if you haven't filled that track and trace form out, then please make sure you do that. Even if you don't have a crew, if you can still put your details on there, please. The idea is that it's a closed event. So obviously we have staff, the volunteers, yourselves, and then your crew. That way we can contact everyone who is involved in the event in the aftermath, should there be any transmission reported. Spectators is specifically outlined on our permit and a condition of the government, Sport England's return to racing, that spectators are not permitted. So please ask friends and family to stay home, to watch the tracker and to support you from afar this time. Now, when you come to the start, you will hopefully have your bib number with you and it's been posted out. But if you haven't received it, don't worry, you can still collect one from us on the day. There's no parking at Hillbarn Rec itself. The parking is at Worthing College, which is the other side of the road. So if you're planning on leaving your car for the duration of the event, please park up at Worthing College and then you can walk across to Hillbarn Recreation Ground. Also at Worthing College car park are the toilets for the event and the drop bag van. So if you've got a finish line bag, something for us to take to finish for you, you can leave it there. And if you need the toilet, please use it at the college. There's no toilets on the ground itself, which is different to usual. The start window is 6 until 8:30 a.m. We've asked you to seed yourselves based on your approximate finish time. The reason that's so important is it creates the greatest spread of traffic down the course. Now, congestion at the start isn't a big problem, but at the early checkpoints, it definitely is. So if we start the faster ones of you first and the slower ones towards the back, it means we have the greatest spread down the course and the minimum possible queues at checkpoints. If people break the rules on this and start too early because they want to get off early, but they're just trying to finish inside the cut-off, etc., it does happen, then it just creates a bigger queue for everyone else at the checkpoints, including yourself. So help you, help others, stick to the seeding bands that we've suggested, but they're no hard and fast on that. You can't be expected to know exactly how long it's going to take you to finish the race, so just be honest with yourselves and with the situation. If you're being dropped at the start, your crew, friends, family, whoever it is, can't come onto the rec ground, please. Again, our deal with Worthing Council is that it's just the runners and the few volunteers and staff on Hillbarn Rec. So please ask them just to head off or head further down the course if they are crewing you. At Hillbarn Recreation Ground, just before you start, you still need to do two things. You need to collect a tracker and you need to have your temperature taken. Okay, so there is still something to do on race morning. The tracker will be given to you, or you will collect it off a table and will be scanned against your bib number. So your tracker will correspond to your bib number. So please arrive at Hillbarn Rec with your bib number on your front, all your kit on, ready to run. Your tracker will be left on the table as you're scanned in. You fix your tracker on and then you can come to the start line, have your temperature taken and start running. The tracker should be fixed on using the tape that we'll provide to the strap on the top of your race vest. It can go in a pocket higher up on your race vest, but ideally please strap to the outside. There'll be hand sanitizer available and plenty of tables under shelter for you to get your tracker fixed. but you probably need to take your bag off in order to fix it properly to the shoulder. The tracker works best when it's got a clear signal to the sky. So like I've just said, it can go in a top pocket, but that obscures the signal. And if you stuff it deep down in your bag, it almost certainly won't work. So please take the time to affix it properly to the top of your bag. The tracker must be handed in at the finish. We will be getting them back off you, but this is new for us for 2021. If you drop out of the race and head home with your crew and don't drop your tracker in, we will call you and ask you to come back with that tracker. There are penalties for us if we don't return those trackers on time. You must put your tracker back at a checkpoint or bring it to the finish, please. Don't just head home from a crew location without handing it in first. If we see your tracker heading down the motorway or down the road rather rapidly, we will get in touch with you via phone. Okay, so you've collected your tracker, you've had your temperature taken, up to the start line, off you go, straight off. No queue, no waiting, you'll be straight off and on the trail. Once you're out on the course, everything's the same. So our course markings are still our arrows with a reflective strip in them for reflecting back at you at night. They say our name on them. And then the red and white barrier tape with a reflective strip in again for the nighttime portion of the run. And of course, the main symbol of the South Downs Way is the acorn. Now, the first 5.5 and the last 2.5 miles are not on the South Downs Way. Okay, so follow the markings closely. There's a GPX on the website, obviously, if you need it. But make sure you pay careful attention, especially when you're not on the South Downs Way. Now, it's a really crucial point. There is one other event happening this weekend that directly clashes with the very fastest runners in this race. Endurance Life also postponed their Coastal Trail Series Sussex event from March to this weekend's date. Now, their race begins and ends in a different location in Eastbourne to ours. However, we do jointly share small sections of the course immediately after Alfriston twice. Now, their tail runners will be through, their final runners will be through that area around the time that we're expecting the first 10 or 15 runners through from our event. So the very front of our race is clashing with the very back of theirs. So just be aware as you leave Alfriston that there will be 3 people out marshalling the course there, 1 from Endurance Life and 2 from us, directing you where to go, okay? But make sure at those junctions, it's very simple for our runners, you are not leaving the South Downs Way, okay? So don't follow Endurance Life's markings. Make sure you're looking, well, you're talking to the stewards, but you're looking for these arrows and stay on the South Downs Way. Okay, for any of you that are looking at taking more than, say, 7.5 hours to complete the race, this won't impact you. So it's only the very first of you that it will. The checkpoints are all in their regular locations. Okay, however, the location at Saddlescombe is slightly further up the hill away from the farm. Okay, so it comes slightly sooner than you would normally be expecting it, which means there's a slightly longer gap across to Housedene Farm, which is already quite a stretch. So make sure you leave Saddlescombe Farm well topped up. Obviously, there are opportunities to see your crew in that next stage if you have one, but you're looking at roughly 11 miles between 2 checkpoints there. So make sure between checkpoint 2 and 3 that you're well prepared for that section. The checkpoint protocols are very clear. If you don't need to use a checkpoint, just run past. No need to do anything else. There's no timing beacon. You've got a tracker, so just carry straight on past the checkpoint. If you need the checkpoint, you need to first put on your face mask. Unless you've got an exemption, face masks are required inside and outside, please, all checkpoints. You'll come up to the checkpoint, sanitize your hands, move into the checkpoint, which will be split into 3 or 4 mini bays. You'll then fill up your own bottles or flasks, take the food that you require, which will be pre-packaged or in self-serving packages. Move on, sanitize your hands on the way out of the checkpoint and then on down the course. Sounds like a bit of a process, a bit of a hassle. It is, quite frankly, but it's also safe. We did this throughout 2020. It worked really well. Yes, there were small queues in some places, but just be patient. if it is a couple of minutes before you can enter the checkpoint. Obviously, you will need to wait for one of the tables to become free to move into the checkpoint. The volunteer will then come in, clean what's there if required, and replenish any supplies, and then you can come in and use the table. The whole process that way remains socially distanced. You don't touch anything else with unsanitized hands that someone else hasn't touched. All the volunteers will have full PPE, gloves and masks, and we've got a sanitized environment for you at the checkpoints, which are the major transmission risk areas, obviously, at an event like this. Okay, so we're on down the course. We're going to just discuss cut-offs. The cut-offs are for leaving the checkpoints, okay, but they're also relative to your start time. So if you started at 8:30, which is the traditional mass start time, then the cut-offs are exactly as they are on the aid station table, all the way through to 9:30 p.m. 13 hours total. If you start at 7:30 a.m., obviously your cut-offs will be pro rata all the way to 8:30 p.m. at the finish, so you'll still get the 13 hours. We will inform you if you've missed a cut-off. We're running sheets that the aid station guys have access to that will tell them if you are over your time limit for reaching that checkpoint. The cut-offs are pro rata, so if you miss a cut-off, you're moving slower than the average pace required to finish, and therefore that's why we're withdrawing you from the race. The sweep and minibus will operate, although obviously at 50% capacity, So you will be able to get on the bus in due course. You must wear a mask. Social distancing on the bus will be enforced. So seating arrangement is pre-planned. The driver will probably have the window open. So that's where you might want to make use of the emergency base layer you have in your bag. We will look after you. Once again, if you drop out of the race and you get in the minibus, give the minibus driver your tracker. If you drop out of the race with your crew, you must attend one of the checkpoints to drop your tracker off, please, before you go home. Okay. Medical, we have a full team out on course, roving ambulances and cars, and then a team at the finish. The number for the medical director is on the race info pack. You should call them if you've got a medical emergency. If you can get to a checkpoint clearly, please do so. If you come across a runner in distress, please wait with them, call that number, and we will get to you as soon as we can. If there's a genuine emergency, i.e. serious incident, the best thing to do is call the medical number and 999, and the first people to reach you are the best people to deal with the situation, okay? The other phone number is Race HQ. That comes through to me. That's for you got lost. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Or you've got another question or an issue, or you need to drop out and you're with your crew, at which point I will tell you what your nearest checkpoint is and how to get there, okay? Animals and other users on the Downs. This is absolutely critical. The South Downs is mostly working farmland. There are gates and stiles all over it. There's livestock out, there's young lambs, there's people walking dogs, there's cyclists. Pressure on the outside spaces at the moment is still very high, because although pubs and restaurants and shops have now reopened, people are obviously going to take advantage of what hopefully is good weather this weekend. It's going to be very busy out there. We do not own this trail. We have no right above anybody else to be there. In fact, we should be conscientious to other users more than they should be to us. Your courteous replies to people, being polite out there, especially to landowners, is so important to the future of this race. The National Park Authority obviously give us the blessing for the event. We have full permissions from all landowners involved, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that we cross hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of land on this route. Gates must be closed, social distancing maintained, pinch points to be observed with a polite attitude, gates and what have you. 99.9% of you do all that by any course anyway, but we will always have a member of the public complain back to us about something. Please, be extra vigilant on this stuff, and hopefully everyone else there gives you the space and time to enjoy the race too from your side of things. If you think you've got a problem and I might be trying to ring you, you've gone off course or what have you, please make sure you've got your phone on and it's on loud, because it's highly likely the phone call will be coming. There's a level crossing at Southeast checkpoint. There'll be a marshal there to ensure you use it. Nobody, even if there's no train coming, nobody please run across the railway line. You do have to go up and down a short staircase. I say it every year. If Tom Evans can run 5:44 or whatever he did and use the level crossing stairs, nobody else has got an excuse either. There'll be someone there making sure that happens. Forecast is excellent for race day. It'll be very cold at the start, 1 degree and a bit of a headwind, quickly rising through the morning to a really comfortable temperature through the middle part of the day and into the afternoon. It may even, dare I say it, feel quite hot given where we've been in the UK over this winter. Just make sure you're prepared, as always, for any eventuality. It's Wednesday, conditions can change. That wind up on the downs is very exposed up there. It can feel very cold. So if you slow down late in the race, put layers on, not your emergency base layer, other layers that you're hopefully carrying, hat, gloves. Just make sure you take care of yourself before you get too cold. Crews, just one more note on those. Only one vehicle can meet you at any one crew location. You can have 2 different crew vehicles out there. I doubt that you'll need that because your crew can quite easily see you as often as they might need to, just in the one vehicle. Some of the crew locations are very small, and obviously it's a bright sunny Saturday in April. There will be busy. So I would tell your crew to look carefully at your tracker position. Don't arrive at a crew location 4 hours before you're due to go through there and sit there in the car. That really is not going to help us out or anybody else. So have them check your tracker, make sure they're following your progress, and use that to guide them about when and where you might be arriving where you need to. The crew cannot attend any of the checkpoints, okay? Only the locations on the crew tab. Can't make that any clearer, I don't think. Finally, last thing to say is please give thanks to the volunteers out there. They are putting themselves out in a massive way for this event, and we've got 80 of them looking after you. They are the lifeblood of the sport. You'll find that community interaction with them is the biggest single thing from the event. Just before I leave, actually, I'll just mention the finish, which I completely forgot about. I'm sorry. When you arrive at the finish, your crew and everybody else, they won't be able to come trackside. Okay, once again, no spectators permitted. And for the purposes of the finish, even though your crew are part of the event bubble, they can't come trackside to watch you finish. I'm really sorry, but that, again, is the conditions of Eastbourne Sports Park and our permit, okay? If they wait for you in the car park, please ask them not to crowd all over the pavement. We had a problem last October with this where there were literally hundreds of people stood on the pavement spectating the finish. Again, ask them to use the tracker. Okay, so they will literally be able to see you. That tracker's updated every 60 seconds. They will literally be able to see you coming and know exactly when you're going to finish, so that they're not stood out on the corner with a big crowd for an hour waiting for you. The leisure centre at Eastbourne Sports Park is completely closed, apart from the toilets. Okay, so you shouldn't make plans to hang out at the end at all unless you don't mind sitting outside. Okay, we will put shelters up, clearly. We will have lights and available space for you to change out of muddy clothes, but it will be essentially a gazebo outside, okay? Again, we're really sorry that we have to do all this, but it is what it is. It's either we work with these protocols or the race doesn't happen, and we've accepted that this is, it's not ideal, but they're things that we can handle. The shuttle buses leave at the close of the race, but we might let one of them go early if we have 25 runners waiting. Okay, so the shuttle buses, again, they'll go at 9:30, but we'll manage that situation as and when we come to it. There are not that many of you on the buses anyway. There are, however, no more bus tickets available because we can only sell 1 in every 2 seats on the bus. We've got 2 coaches booked and they are full, I'm afraid. Okay, guys, I'll leave it there. In case I've forgotten anything, because there's an awful lot to remember, as you can see, I will put it in the notes underneath the video. Have a wonderful last few days of preparation, and I'll see you at the start line on Saturday morning. Bye for now.